I took this yard from overgrown grass to a food forest paradise with wildflowers, fruit trees, fruit bushes, full of native plants. And let's get into how I did it. Now, this person had planted a bunch of seeds, but it wasn't even able to compete with the type of grass that was there anyway. So they wanted wildflowers, native plants in their yard, and they had failed. And they just had let the grass grow tall, which I have no problem with that. I think that's better than mowing. That's great. They even had a couple flowers mixed in there. So first thing I did is tear all that grass out. I have this picture of the natural landscaping paper I put down, and then we put a thick layer of mulch along with a thin layer of compost on top. And the point of that is to kill the grass roots that are underneath there. In order to build healthy soil, we don't want to disturb the soil underneath. We want to leave it intact, leave that biomass, that organic matter in the soil underneath. So we did that. And from there, you go in and you put the plants. So this is just after the installation. This was this fall, pretty close to the freeze, close to the winter, which is actually a pretty good time to install. So we just put the plants in. We'll see how it comes up next spring, and I'll show you guys some pictures. But we had a bunch of fruit, currants, honeyberries, blueberries. I can't even remember what else. We had a bunch of native plants. It was like 25 or 50% off sale at the native plant store because it was the end of the season. So we just loaded it up with a bunch of native plants, put it really densely in there. Some of them might die, and hopefully they do because it's planted pretty densely. And from there, we just put them in little holes, put a bunch of compost around there. When you're digging the hole, since it was pretty quick, we didn't want weeds to come up. So what I did is I put a bunch of compost around the plant, and this is very low nitrogen, well-aged compost, so it doesn't shock these native plants. They're not used to these high nutrient compost soils. So we put that in there just to add a little bit more mulch and growing area to keep the weeds down. And that's it. That's pretty much the food forest. The next step was to very thoroughly water everything. And that's it.